The Full Circle. With DC. And a very, very, very good day, everybody. My name is DC. I am the host of The Full Circle, a podcast where we link songs together with the last song linking to the first song, hence completing the full circle. This week, I have a very special guest. He is a high school English and film teacher, has a huge passion about movies and film history. He's a film speaker and a host of two great podcasts. Firstly, Reels of Cinema, where each episode talks about two films with a link between them. And secondly, co-host of Movies Across the Pod, which he does with his UK co-host Dave, where they talk about movies which one of them hasn't seen before. It's an absolute honour to have him on The Full Circle. His name is Frank Mandosa. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, Frank.
How you doing? Thank you so much for having me on. And if I may say, after listening to your show, that was probably one of the things I was looking forward to most, was hearing you say that trademark, boom, boom, boom. Loved it. Now that I've seen it in person, one thing off my bucket list.
Oh, incredible. No, thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute honor to have you on the show. How are you doing this week? How's your weekend been?
Thank you. My weekend's been going all right. It's been going all right. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving here in the U.S. at the time of this recording. So you got a little bit of the holiday stress going. Everyone's contributing something. Everyone's bringing something, but it's all a good problem to have. Things are going just fine. How about you?
Yeah, good. I was at the time of recording, I was just in my hometown of Coventry. Do you know Coventry in the UK?
By name only. I've never been. I've been to England a couple of times, but I've never been to Coventry.
Yeah, so Coventry is a town in the Midlands. It's a city, actually, in the Midlands, and it's pretty close to Birmingham. Easy to get to on the train from London, about an hour. And I'm a big football fan. I know you call it soccer, but there's only one real football. I'm not gonna debate that now. But there's only one real football, and that football is English Association Soccer football. But yeah, no, I support a team called Coventry, and Coventry are doing pretty well in the football championship, the league just below the Premier League. So I was just there this weekend watching us get another win, and we're top of the championship, doing really well. So yeah, are you a fan of soccer/football at all, or not really?
I'll be honest with you. It's not that I dislike it. It's just not something that I follow. I wouldn't object to going to a game. I wouldn't object to seeing them. It's not something that I will seek out actively.
That's fair. I mean, I don't really talk about it much on here because I feel like a lot of people probably feel the same way. But yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, I'm excited to hear about the songs you've chosen for The Full Circle. Out of interest, are they like a variety? Are they an eclectic genre, or have you focused on a specific genre or time of music history? Or
to be honest, the songs that I went with, they all have personal relevance, and that's the link that I have. So as far as genre goes, it's all over the place. And as far as the time period, the era that each song came out, that's a bit more consolidated, but I would say probably a 15 to 20 year time span.
Nice. I like full circles. I like songs all over the place. I like that it has a personal connection to it. That's amazing. I'm looking forward to hearing about your full circle choices. But what I want to hear from you is I want to hear I mean, I'm sure a lot of listeners, they will have listened to this because they know who you are and they are interested to hear about you and hear about your music and hear about your interests in that sort of genre. But what I want to hear from you is a bit about yourself. I want to hear about you. I want to hear about, who are you, Frank? Who are you? I want to hear about that. I want to hear about your podcasts and your interests. And then what I also want to hear from you is I want to hear a fun fact that you've never shared before, which you're willing to share on this podcast.
Wow. Who am I? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Because I think that's the question that we all strive to answer throughout our lives. My name is Frank, and I guess that's the best place to begin. Boston, born and bred. I was born in a hospital that no longer exists. Yeah, I've lived in Massachusetts all my life, with the exception of college when I was in New Hampshire. But other than that, it's been Massachusetts. And I suppose that means that I'm New Englander through and through. So I'm a hearty Yankee soul, I guess you could say. I'm a high school English and film teacher, as you mentioned, and I've been doing that since 2000. Been happily married for 25 years. We just celebrated 25 years this year.
Wow.
I have two kids that I adore, And I use that word deliberately, even though if they heard that right now, they would be cringing. I say I use that word because the two of them are off at college now, and this is the first year that both of them are at college. So I'm going through the empty nest syndrome. That's part of why I've found that podcasting is now serving an additional purpose, meaning that it's helping me to cope with the empty nest syndrome. So I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a guest on your show. I've been listening to you now for a while, and this is some really good stuff that you have. I'm thrilled that I get to be a part of it. So thank you for for letting me.
No, pleasure, absolute pleasure, and it's an honor to have you on. And your passion for movies is so infectious. And I want you to tell the listeners about your podcasts, and I want you to explain like why you do them and what drives you to talk about this.
I have to give credit where credit is due. My passion for film began at a very young age with my grandmother. She was a huge movie fan as well. She would babysit, and she would always turn on the television, and it was usually a Saturday night. My parents would have what we now call a date night, and my grandmother would come from downstairs. She lived downstairs from us, and she would always turn on the Saturday night 8:00 movie of the week. It would be an old movie rerun, and my earliest memory of her watching that is of her watching a film version of the story of Annie Oakley from the 1930s. And I knew who Annie Oakley was from school. I couldn't even tell you how old I was. Maybe I was first or maybe second grade. And I knew Annie Oakley from, I don't even remember if it was a poster or if it was from something in the reader that we were using, but I knew who she was. And I'm seeing this movie, and I turned to my grandmother and I said, "Is that the real Annie Oakley?" And she said, "No, this is a movie." And that was one of my first introductions to the concept of movies can tell stories, like true stories. At that point, my knowledge of the movies was limited to, I would say, Star Wars, definitely, and maybe a little bit of the Rocky theme music, because that was a movie that my father loved, so I would hear the theme music all the time. So this Annie Oakley movie. So my passion for film only grew from there. Fast forward now to years and years later, and it's now probably 2012. At this point, I've been teaching a film class now at the high school where I work, and film was my passion, and I would be following along with the Academy Awards, the whole thing. And it was my father-in-law who turned to me and he said to me, "Have you ever considered giving talks on films?" And I said, "No, I haven't, but what do you mean?" And long story short, because of that question, his inspiration, I went into my town public library and I asked them if they would be interested. Since 2012, I've been a film speaker, and it just sort of grew arms and legs from there. I give my talks now all over the state of Massachusetts, sometimes in Rhode Island and Connecticut, and I went virtual with them thanks to COVID. And I mean that half jokingly, half seriously, because COVID was not a favor to any of us. But the fact that we were locked down, the circumstances led to my talks going on Zoom, going virtual, hosting webinars. And so that is something that I've been doing a lot more of over the past 4 or 5 years. So I'm grateful that those talks have now expanded as far out as Kansas City, Missouri, and down to Pennsylvania and Long Island. And it was around 2016, maybe 2016, 2017. And a colleague of mine, he was a social studies teacher where I work. He was only maybe 3 years older than I am. He said to me, "You should do a podcast." And I said to him, "I don't know the first thing about technology. I wouldn't know what to do. And I don't know how I would feel about talking into a microphone all this time just by myself." So he laughed, and next thing I know, he is emailing me these links to these videos, how to set up a podcast, or these articles he found online. He was a great guy, very encouraging. He passed away of cancer, actually, in 2019, and that was around the time, that was several months before lockdown began. When lockdown began, that is when I began listening to a couple of podcasts that I came across on my Twitter feed, and one of the libraries that I usually would go to give talks, they asked me if I would be willing to do it over Zoom. So I did. So this would have been June of 2020. And one of the people who attended in the Q&A afterwards typed in, "Do you have a podcast?" And I said, "No, but now I will," because at this point, all signs were pointing to yes. I was thinking about that guy I used to work with. His name was John. I was now having somebody who attended one of my talks asking me if I had one. So that's really where it all began. So I launched Silver Screeners in April of 2021, did that show for about 4.5 years and 177 episodes. And at that point, I decided, let's change things up before this gets too stale. So I retired Silver Screeners and I launched Reels of Cinema April of this year, April of 25. So I've been doing that one ever since. And it's thanks to the podcasting that you and I have met each other and crossed paths, and now we're on each other's shows, and I can't think of anything cooler.
Yeah, amazing. What a story. I think that's always great when you hear people telling you you should do a podcast. That in itself is just reaffirming. And you've got the passion for it. I've listened to your shows. I think they're great. You've got the voice, you've got the passion, you've got the feeling. And I think and even though you're speaking to on a microphone to yourself, it feels like you're speaking to the listener. And I think that's really important in a podcast. So yeah, no, it's an absolute honor to have you on the show. And thanks for sharing that story about you as well.
Thank you for letting me.
No, pleasure. Right, let's begin with your first song choice. What's the first song you've chosen for the Full Circle?
The first song that I have for the Full Circle is a Coldplay song called Clocks. I love Coldplay. My son and I saw them in concert in New Jersey. This would have been June of 22, I believe. Yes, June of 22 that we went down to New Jersey for a weekend, saw Coldplay in concert. It was fantastic. These guys know how to put on a show. I will not get into what happened this summer with that Kiss Cam whole situation. All that aside, that's not the reason why I love Coldplay. I loved Coldplay for years before that happened. They got a lot of publicity because of that, but Clocks was a song that I heard a lot when my son was born. So every time I hear it, it always takes me back to that first year that he was around. I'm a person who very easily hears a song and I automatically, instinctively, I couldn't stop if I tried, I automatically go to a particular time in my life, or I go to a particular location, like a favorite place I've been. I have very strong associations between music, between songs and memories of mine. And Clocks is a song that I associate with the first year of fatherhood. And it's a great song in and of itself. Coldplay, Chris Martin, I mean, they did the Super Bowl halftime show, and they're great to watch. And there are a lot of Coldplay songs that I love. I love Viva La Vida. I love so many of them. As far as one that has really personal significance, it would be this one.
Nice. Yeah, really solid choice. Yeah, I love Coldplay. Russian Blood to the Head, an incredible album, which this song is taken from. Clocks, the first song on the Full Circle. Frank, are you able to give a fun fact that you've never shared on a podcast before?
A fun fact that I have never shared on a podcast before. Okay. I had a feeling you were going to be asking this question because I've heard it on your show. And I was trying to think of something that I've never mentioned before. And I guess I may be 51 years old, but I still now and always will be a huge, huge fan of the Flintstones. Fred Flintstone, Barney Rubble. I would like to know how the heck they never got calluses on their feet from driving. I would like to know why Wilma always wears that bone in her hair. The Flintstones, I just have a lot of really fond memories of watching when I was in grade school. And this would have been the late 70s, early 80s. It's something that I'm not ashamed to admit to. I think it's very trendy to say that you love Family Guy, or that you love The Simpsons, or that you love, animated shows that have a bit more edge to them. But the Flintstones will always have a special place in my heart.
Nice. I assume, are you just talking about, like, was it the cartoons, or have you also watched the films as well?
Oh, that's a whole different animal. I've seen the first film, and I just like to focus. I'll just say that I like to focus on the animated series. With all due respect to the actors involved, but you're not going to capture the magic. There's just no way. So, no, I refer to the 1960s, the original run of the original series, none of the follow-up series or feature films or attempts at reboots or anything like that. I'm a stickler for the OG.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, fair play. I used to watch Flintstones when I was younger, and it was good. And you're right. It is. Yeah. How are they able to do it on their feet? There's a lot of things that don't make sense, but I guess I guess back in the day, that sort of stuff just wasn't the thing, right? Calluses and just be able to just run on their feet and just have a bone on their hair and didn't matter.
There just wasn't any blood circulation in the prehistoric days, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. Fair, very polite way of basically saying you didn't like the film. Very polite way. But I don't want to say, I don't want to put those words in your mouth. I don't want to say that you definitely said that, because I'm sure you didn't mean it like that.
Well, let's just say that you have just shown some really strong inferential thinking.
Oh dear. Probably not going to be talking about the film or that film on your podcast at some stage then.
Not anytime soon. Never say never, but not anytime soon.
Oh dear. And well, unless someone wants you to, then you've got no choice, right?
Oh, I honor listener requests. So if anybody were to ask me to do that, I would happily pair up the Flintstones with another feature film adaptation of an animated series or a TV series in general. I loved the Brady Bunch movie. That was one that was filled with hidden Easter eggs for the true fans, for the ones who really grew up with that show. So I'm not saying that feature film adaptations of TV shows is impossible, that it cannot be done. This one was just, it was a noble effort, but again, very talented actors involved, but it left a little to be desired.
Fair. What about the Scooby-Doo one? That's the one that came to my mind.
I'm not going to lie, this actually is this is actually 2 fun facts for the price of 1. I have never really seen Scooby-Doo. I really haven't. I am familiar with it. Like, I know who Scooby-Doo is, and I know the names of all the characters, but that was a show that I never really got into. I never really saw it. And any of the live action films, again, Matthew Lillard, these are fun actors. So, but I just can't speak to the films because I haven't seen them.
Fair. I've seen the film. I wasn't sure what I made of it. I think James Gunn was involved in it as well. Like, I think he might have written it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's another fun fact. It's not recent. It's 2002, is it?
I think it was from around then. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I can completely see that. We've heard your first song choice, Coldplay Clocks. How does that link to the second song in the full circle?
The second song that I have is an Alanis Morissette tune, and I know that she mispronounced the word itself, but that's her specialty. I think she does that deliberately. The song is called Wonderkind, which was actually used for the end credits of Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Wonderkind is a very sweet, very sentimental, very female empowering song. And I chose this song because this is one that I would sing to my daughter when she was a baby and I was trying to get her to go to sleep. Coldplay reminds me of my son as an infant, and Wonderkind, or Wunderkind, but Wonderkind reminds me of holding her and just being the father of a little girl for the first time.
I love how personal they are. That's incredible. Yeah, the second song on the full circle, Alanis Morissette, Wonderkind. Great stuff. And just to confirm, forgive me if I've got this wrong, you've said that both your children are in education. Isn't one of them in Edinburgh?
Yes, my daughter is right now in her first year at the University of Edinburgh, and my son is in his 3rd year at the University of St Andrews. They're both in Scotland.
Nice. Have you managed to come to Scotland to see them, or?
My wife and I have been to Scotland a total of 3 times. First time we went was when my son was still in high school, and we were looking at a few schools out there. The second time we went was when we moved him in, and then the third time we went was just a few months ago when we moved her in. I would love to be able to... People asked us a lot, more so when Scotland was still a new concept for us. When my son was first starting out, people we work with or friends, they would say, "Oh, are you going to fly out there for Thanksgiving?" But we never did that because, number one, they'd be in class on Thanksgiving Day. It's not that, it's a North American holiday. I think they have it in Canada, but I don't think they have it in the UK. So number one, they would be in class, and yeah, we could have dinner that night together, but the plane tickets, they're not cheap. So would we want to go then if they're only coming home for the holidays, maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks later? So then it was, okay, so we'll save the money and use it to go there in the springtime. But because my wife and I both work in the public schools, the school vacation. We have a school vacation week off in February, and we have a school vacation week off in April. At least in Massachusetts, that's the way it is. Neither one of those 2 weeks would be available. They wouldn't have a break at that point. So I'm not saying we're never going to go out there again, but it's possible that we won't be out there again until my son graduates. I would love to be able to say that we could go there more often, but time is an issue, the money is an issue, and our work schedules.
No, it's completely fair. I mean, they're both, Edinburgh is just a beautiful place. And I don't know if it's possible. So if they're going to be coming back during the Christmas period, it's probably not going to be possible, but they do a special celebration on New Year's Eve, Hogmanay. It's basically like a street celebration. Something that I think we'd love to do at some point as well. I mean, even from here, like on the train from London to Edinburgh is quite a long time. So flying from the States to Scotland, and as you mentioned, the financial aspect and also just the time of the year just probably wouldn't be viable. And it's freezing. I don't know what's the weather like in Massachusetts, but it's freezing at the moment here.
At the moment, it's pretty darn cold here too, which is normal. It's normal for this time of year. We can get very hot and humid in the summer, and we can get pretty bitterly cold in the winter. We also have had our mild winters, but the past couple of days have been pretty frigid.
Oh, well, then you can come to Scotland. I mean, Scotland winters are always freezing, so, it's not going to be any different, so...
I am all for the cold. I truly am. I love skiing. I'm a big skier, so when it comes to, if I had to pick an extreme, I would certainly pick being cold more than being, hot and humid and just a sultry atmosphere. You'll never see me moving down to Florida. You'll never see me in a tropical climate permanently. If I were to uproot from Massachusetts and go anywhere else, it'll probably be north. Either that or it would be in the UK, because I absolutely adore the UK. I love it. I've been to England, I've been to Scotland, and you just got a heck of a region there. The climate, the culture, I love it. There's actually a running joke that for years it's been a running joke that I would say that I must have died in England in a former life, because every time I go to England, and I haven't been since 2018, but every time I go to England, there's this strange sensation of I feel like I'm coming home. I can't explain it. So I just have an affinity for the environment, the culture. I love the geography of it. I love the climate. I love the history, all of it. I just completely, I will never get tired of it.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it is. I mean, the UK is a great place. And hopefully you're coming back, not in the not too distant future. It's been it's been 7 years now. It's been a bit too long, I think.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been in England. Like I said, I've been to Scotland, but I would love to spend more time in not just London, really, but other areas as well. I'd love to go to Bath. I've never been to Bath. We spent an afternoon in Canterbury. Being an English teacher, I love, the Canterbury Tales, of course, and the literature that I teach. So the history of being in the region. I haven't seen Stonehenge. I would love to see Stonehenge. I know that it's in the middle of nowhere. I know it's not easily accessible, I've been told, but that's not going to stop me. I'm still going to go anyway.
Yeah, nice. I've been to Canterbury. My partner's actually at Canterbury today, which is funny. She's there for the Christmas. Yeah, she's there for the Christmas markets. We actually did Stonehenge ourselves earlier this year, and yeah, it is like a little bit of a mission to get to. Easy on the train from London, though. It's very accessible because it's a very popular destination. Very popular on the solace that's June the 21st, or the 20th, 22nd, depending on leap years and things. Yeah, that's where it's really, really absolute busy. You have to get there really early, but it's definitely worth going if you can. I mean, obviously Bath is a lovely place, an absolutely lovely place. Just the history and the cultures around that as well. London itself, if you do come to London, and we can have a catch up in person, that'd be amazing.
You are on, my friend.
You answered you gave yourself a would you rather question about whether you'd rather be in the hot and the cold. Are you ready to answer some more would you rather questions?
Yes, I am. I've been looking forward to this with an equal helping of fear and excitement, so bring it on.
Nice. Let's do some would you rather. I do feel a little bad, actually, go straight into it with this one. Would you rather never be able to watch or talk about movies again, or never be able to teach again?
Oh, God. Oh, this is difficult because by profession, I teach and I love working with kids, but movies. I love podcasting. I love the film talks. I love going to the movies and just enjoying them for what they are. I love doing things like this. But which would I? Well, let me put it this way. I will say that given where I am in my life right now, I would rather never teach again. But I only say that because I am so far into my career. I have less than a decade to go before I retire. If you had asked me this question 20 years ago, I probably would not have come to an answer so easily. I will say that where I am right now, I'll hang on to watching and talking about movies.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, because I think if I had to decide between essentially my job or my hobby, then yeah, I'd probably at this stage choose my job. Because I guess I'm at a different stage of, as you're saying, and maybe, like you say, maybe in like future that might change. But that's why I thought that would be a really, really tough one, because that's essentially what I'm asking you. Like, would you rather just give up your job or give up your passion? Like, that's basically...
That's the point of Would You Rather questions, is that they're supposed to be tough. So, excellent job with that.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Would you rather, if you had the choice, play the hero in a film or the villain?
Oh, I would play the villain. That did not take me long at all. I will play the villain. Give me the script. Allow me to search the inner darkest recesses of my soul to find the inner cynicism, which is very much there. Oh yeah. Bring on the evil.
Wow, I must admit, I thought I'd have you as a hero.
Oh really?
Well, just the happiness, the outgoingness, the excitement. I just thought that would be more like, yeah, I can be the savior, not the, I want to be the bad guy.
I think the reason why I answered the way I did is because I think about these characters in movies, and the villain roles just seem so much more fun. They really just seem like a blast. Nicholas Hoult in the latest Superman movie, he was having a great time doing what he was doing. And it's so funny because he's the complete opposite in real life, or at least he presents as the opposite in real life. I would much rather be Lex Luthor than Superman. Or I would much rather be the Joker or the Riddler than Batman. And as far as non-superhero movies go, I'd much rather be a nameless stormtrooper than a nameless rebel in the base sitting in front of some computer screen arbitrarily turning knobs.
That's fair. I think, to be honest, I would also go for that as well. I think, like you say, you just have a bit more fun playing that sort of role. I mean, I'm also a massive, I don't know, are you into like wrestling at all? Do you ever watch that? Or
I don't know really much about wrestling. Like before, it's not that I'm opposed to it. It's not that I dislike it. It's just not something that I ever really encountered.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that. Like you have like the good guys in terms of the wrestlers, and then like the bad guys, and it's always just more fun and more theatrical to play the bad guy. I think that's something which I've always appealed to. And I don't know if it's a very popular show in the UK. I don't know if it's as popular in the US, but it's called The Traitors. Do you know about this show?
I know of it. I have not seen it, but I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know what it's like. I don't know if obviously it'll be a different sort of vibe in America with the contestants, but in the UK it's been a massive hit, and there's like 20 players, 16 of them are faithful, so they're like the good people, and you want to basically kick out the traitors who are like murdering the faithfuls or trying to say that they're not the traitors, they're faithful. And they always ask them, would you rather be a traitor or a faithful? And it's the same. So I also get the same sort of feel like, yeah, I'd rather be a traitor. Like, I don't know. I like that. I don't know what it is. And, I'm sure there could be some psychoanalysis done for either of us as to why we want to choose that side. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. I was just a bit surprised that you also felt that way as well. That's all.
Yeah, I think there's this side of me that, I don't want to say I'm drawn to roles like that or to characters like that, but they just tend to be a heck of a lot more compelling in the context of the story, I mean.
That's fair. Right, let's do a music one. Would you rather, and you can share what your favorite band is if you have a favorite band. Would you rather watch your favorite band play an intimate acoustic show, or would you rather watch them do a full stadium show with all the bells and whistles, and you've got the perfect views for whichever one you go for?
I would rather the intimate performance, because that would just be so cool to feel that we're up close. You know what I mean? I would have to say that one of my favorite bands is the Mamas and the Papas, and only one of them is around right now anymore. So if we were to, if I were to go back in time, if I could see them live, I would have given anything to see them perform California Dreamin' or Monday live on stage. And if it's a small, intimate environment, I don't know, it would feel a lot more, even though it wouldn't necessarily be the case, I would build up in my head to be, ooh, they are singing to me. And the feeling of musicians that you love singing songs that you love, if there's the feeling of I'm one of the only ones in the audience, then bring it on.
Yeah, fair. The only thing is, I don't know if their music would be perfect for it. The only thing is obviously it would be acoustic. Would you be happy with that?
I would be, because a few of the songs are acoustic, not all of them, but I like live performance renditions of songs where the studio recording is the one that's more ubiquitous, the one that's more well-known. If you hear a live performance of Light My Fire versus the studio recording of Light My Fire, I feel like Jim Morrison, I feel like you get the more of an authentic performance, because they're singing in the heat of the moment. They're singing in a venue where they are much more free being themselves, rather than being in this recording booth wearing headphones and performing the music the way that the studio wants them to, or the way that the record label wants them to, if that makes any sense.
No, fair. The thing that always puts me off is the acoustic element. That's the only thing that just puts me off it. But yeah, my favorite band, I mean, if it was like Red Hot Chili Peppers doing an intimate acoustic show, that would be something pretty cool. So I can see that. Now, this is a bit of a standard one. Like, I just want to know what your thoughts are. Would you rather be constantly tired no matter how much you sleep, or constantly hungry no matter how much you eat?
I'm hesitating because both of them have a negative impact on my health. When I don't sleep enough, my anxiety builds, and I'm very prone to panic attacks. If I eat too much, then I always have in the back of my mind to be careful. I'm pre-diabetic, and so I want to make sure that I watch my sugar intake, and I want to make sure that, cholesterol, all of that health stuff. So if I eat too much in an attempt to feel full, and it's just a losing game, then yeah, I think I'd rather I think I'd rather deal with the panic attacks, which I can at least have coping mechanisms to try to keep it under control, as opposed to, okay, my blood sugar is through the roof. So
are you a good sleeper?
No, I'm not. I can be. I go through spurts, I guess is the best way to put it. I go through spurts where I'll have a few months where I'll sleep really well, really deep, and then I'll have a few months where I'm just tossing and turning all night, and I can't get my mind off things. I do have a CPAP machine that I began using recently, and that was more for respiratory problems, and that really, at first, that helped me to sleep really well. Lately, though, that's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so... Yeah. Well, the noise, and then there's always water getting caught in the, the nose piece or in the hose, and so you wake up to the sound of gargling every time you inhale, so you just rip it off, and what's the point?
No, fair enough. I guess being tired, as rubbish as it is probably something a lot of us are used to a bit more than being constantly hungry, because I don't know about you, but it's obviously in terms of like the health issues associated with that, I really cannot stand that feeling of being hungry. I think I do. I hate to say it, but I think I do get hangry when I'm hungry. I don't know about you.
I can get grumpy if it's, okay, I haven't had anything to eat now in a couple of hours, and you dare to come to me and ask me to do this for you, someone at work or something. It's like a kid comes up to me and it's like, kid, it's 5 minutes away from lunchtime. Go back to your seat and ask me after. I'm joking. I've never done that. But.
Yeah. For legal reasons, Frank's never done that. No. Similar at work. Like, you can just tell with colleagues over the years, you could just tell when I just feel like you need a little bit to eat. Like, you're just being a little bit more snappy, and it's getting close to lunchtime. Like, it's always is like that. But it's it is just human nature. I would rather be constantly tired, because I think I'm used to that feeling. I'm not the best sleeper, and it's I think I'm always constantly tired. So yeah, I'd rather be constant. I feel like I've gotten better at that as well. Like, it sounds ridiculous. I think I used to be a lot worse at it, but like, I think I've just gotten more used to just being that. But yeah, it's not neither is ideal. Right, this is the last one. Would you rather be a famous director or a famous actor?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I would rather be a famous director, because if I'm a really famous actor, and if, let's say that I were a really good actor or a really famous actor, I think I would be nervous if in my personal life I'm being sincere about something and then I'll be accused of acting. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be in a situation where I'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that I forgot your birthday, and really, really good job pretending to be you're sorry. You're just the greatest actor in the world." Yeah, I shudder to think of what Meryl Streep must have to put up with, or Robert De Niro. God help them if they're ever called to be a witness at a trial, because then they can be putting on the performance of a lifetime, and nobody would know if they're being sincere or not. So yeah, I think I'd rather be a famous director.
That's fair. That's an interesting way to look at it. My reasons for why I think I'd rather be a famous director as well is because you're involved in the making of something, and I guess you're not in the limelight as much per se. And for me, I would rather not be fully in the limelight but still be recognized, if that makes sense. Like, if I had to choose between those two. But I like the way you've said it as well. Like, like, if your famous actor had, people, and then, you're good at your job, people might just think you're always just not, being honest, or you might be acting. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, like an accusation of, "Oh, you're just turning on the waterworks, but you do that for a living, so I'm not convinced."
Oh, that'd be so sad. That would be so sad, though, if people thought that about you just because you're good at acting.
I'm not saying it necessarily is what they have to deal with, but it's something that's crossed my mind, so...
No, but that's really interesting. And there probably is some truth to that. It's like, I don't know, like, there's always this, like, belief that psychiatrists can, like, quote unquote read minds, or they're like analyzing you and stuff like that. It's just it's not always the case, but it's I mean, like, I just sit as my job. I just do my job and that's it. But you're right, like, there are some actors who will act like they are, even like in for the role or just in general, because they're preparing for that, and maybe they might be doing that.
I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, especially actors who go method. They'll spend the month or two pre-production period of time saying, "Call me by my character's name," and they might not want to associate with the rest of the cast if their character is supposed to be the villain, or if their character is supposed to be an enigma in the context of the story being told on film, I mean. And so it helps them to get into character if they don't become too acquainted with cast members, because it will add to the authenticity of their performance.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And it's the same in, like we were talking about earlier, like same in wrestling. Like before, when now they sort of reveal that it's not, it's scripted and all that sort of stuff. But back in the day, they used to act like they were in real life. Like, they acted like that. And it's unbelievable, like the lengths they would go through to, like, keep that act per se. So yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Those Would You Rathers weren't too bad, were they?
No, not at all. No, those were fun. All I was gonna say was I'm disappointed that's the end of it.
Maybe next time we'll get some more going for you. Okay, Alanis Morissette, Wunderkind or Wunderkind. How does that link to the third song?
Okay, well, this is really this is I don't know if this is gonna make me sound pathetic or not, but my next song is from Green Day, a band I love, and it's Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. And this is the song that was an earworm for me even though I hadn't heard it that day. But when we were dropping my son off for his first year in Scotland, and we were leaving him, and it was just a strange feeling of, I'm leaving my kid in another country across the ocean. We're going back to the airport, but he's not coming with us. This somehow just feels really odd. Am I abandoning him? Is this being negligent? Like those old, you're supposed to hold a kid's hand when you cross the street. You're not supposed to leave the house if they're going to be home alone if they're too young. So it was just a feeling of, wow, he is old enough to be doing this. It's like, yeah, he's 18 and he's in college now, and we are getting on a plane and he is not. For whatever reason, that song began running through my head. It's something unpredictable, but in the end, it's right. I hope you have the time of your life. And that was the way I felt ultimately was, yeah, this is unpredictable. I suppose it feels right, even though it doesn't, but then it did, then it didn't. And then I hope he has the time of his life. I hope he has a great 4 years, a great experience. That's the link back to my son with Coldplay and clocks. So you may have noticed that there's a trend here that these songs are all related to my two kids.
Yeah, no, very nice. Yeah, and a great song, Green Day, Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. The third song on the Full Circle, yeah, taken from Nimrod. A really, really good album, actually. And have you been able to see Green Day live yourself?
Yes, I did. I saw them at Fenway. I saw them at Fenway Park about 4 years ago. It was August of 21, and it was, and I say this melodramatically, but it was truly a spiritual experience. It was so, I was out of my body. I was astral projecting. I was looking down at that ball field saying, okay, I can just lay down and die now. I have finally seen them in person, and they are not disappointing. they are living up to everything I would have hoped that this experience would have been. It was just, when it comes to music I love, I get very, I guess you could say, I get a little fanatical.
No, they're incredible live. I've seen them. Saw them last year. They played American Idiot in full and Dookie in full, two incredible albums of theirs. And then we saw them a few years ago when there was this massive tour, which was just incredible, where it was Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer all in one day. And that was just epic as well.
Okay, that's magic combination right there.
Yeah.
That is gold.
So yeah, really good song choice. Really enjoying these song choices. Green Day, Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. They're all on a playlist. Check those songs out if you haven't before. Right, I want to ask you some of your favorites. Just some favorite moments or some favorite things of yours that I think people would be interested in. Well, I'm interested in it. I'm sure the listeners will be as well. Now, this is going to be tough. I realized as soon as I wrote this, I was like, this is going to be tough. And this is probably a little bit, I'm sorry, but what's your favorite movie?
Oh dear. If I had a nickel for every time I was asked this question by anybody, really, okay. It is, oh dear. If I were on a desert island and I could only have one movie with me, oh, this is tough. It depends on the day you ask me, because part of me wants to say, oh, The Empire Strikes Back. Part of me wants to say, oh, Psycho all the way, the original Psycho. Part of me wants to say Sunset Boulevard, or maybe something like It's a Wonderful Life, or, geez, so many. Raiders of the Lost, The Goonies, The Princess Bride. In more recent years, movies like, I have loved movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was miraculous because I'm not really a Quentin Tarantino fan. Parasite, Joker, Jojo Rabbit. God help me, I even liked Barbie. A Real Pain, The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti. Oh, this is tough. Good question. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Black Christmas with Olivia Hussey. Night of the Living Dead. In the Heat of the Night, Lion from 2016 with Dev Patel, who is my acting god. All right, so if I can only go with one, okay, I can only go with one.
How many was that you just named? That's quite a.
Oh, that was a lot. I probably named. Oh, offhand, I guess I'm just going with the ballpark figure. I probably just rattled off the titles of 10, 12 movies. So if I had to narrow it down to one, I'm going to have to close my eyes and throw a dot as a way of answering this question. And then, of course, I'll be feeling like I'm betraying all of the others by not choosing them. All right. I'm going to go with, in this moment, The Holdovers. And I think that I'm going with that movie because of the time of year that it is right now. Today is November 23rd, and I'm in that mindset of, the holiday season is right around the corner. Although I didn't relate to Paul Giamatti's character on a personal level, as far as the type of person that he was, the fact that he was an English teacher, the fact that he had students who were just completely not into it, I could relate to a lot of that. I'll say The Holdovers, but I know that as soon as January 2nd rolls around, I will be saying to myself, why did I go with that one? Not that it doesn't deserve to be on a best of list, but why didn't I say this one instead or that one instead? Because there are just so many movies that I love. I guess it's like saying, do you have a best friend? And it's, well, yes, I do, but I have I have a number of people I would call my best friends. How can you choose between best friends? I guess I feel the same way about movies, but I'll stand by this. I'm going to go with The Holdovers right now, and I will say that it is some of the best acting that I've seen in recent years. An incredible soundtrack. I loved the cinematography. I appreciated the fact that it took place right here where I live, and it's just a great story. Some parts of it are really hysterical. Some parts of it are really incredibly moving and incredibly sad, and it just all equals an extremely well-made film, skillfully shot, skillfully written, skillfully directed and acted, skillfully edited, music that is the perfect complement to the overall tone of the film. Yeah, I'm going to go with The Holdovers. Now, if you had asked me this question a month ago during the Halloween season, I probably would have gone with the original Wicker Man or The Exorcist or Texas Chainsaw, but no, I'll go with The Holdovers.
Okay, maybe I'll ask you. Maybe I'll ask you again next time, and we'll see what it is then.
I'm sorry. I know I probably just completely talked my way out of that one, and that wasn't my intention. But
no, it's fine. I had the same issue. Someone spinned a question back at me when I asked them their favorite, and I couldn't do it. So I've now realized how difficult this is, and I do feel a little bit. Yeah, I now feel a little bit bad that I ask it.
Oh, don't feel bad. This is the best ways to ask these kinds of questions. Can I give a shout out to the original Willy Wonka as well as The Best Years of Our Lives? I have oh God, I have so many that I will give shout outs to, but I won't.
Oh dear. Yeah, that'll be a feature on its own. Just list all your favorite movies. Okay, now I wonder if you've already answered this one based on what you said earlier, but maybe it's a different one. What's your favorite music gig that you've ever been to?
Let me see now. I've seen They Might Be Giants. That was back in college. I have seen Green Day. I have seen Coldplay, Imagine Dragons. As far as the best production, the best show, I will say that it was Coldplay in June of 2022 in New Jersey. I will say that was the best production, the best show as far as all the bells and whistles and everything that was added to the actual performances itself.
Fair. Did you keep the watch or did you return it?
I kept what I could legally. My son came home with a poster. I came home with a T-shirt.
Very nice. Yeah, they're epic. I've managed to see them live twice, and they do just put on an incredible show. They're so good. I know some people think they're a little, I don't know, like a little poppy now because they were a bit more rockier with their sound, especially when they first started. And I think some people don't like that as much. And I think they've definitely changed their style, but they just write catchy music. Yeah, it's harmless.
Very welcome earworms.
Definitely. Now, you've achieved so much, and I'll get you. It's going to be too hard to answer this as well. But what would you say is your favorite life moment or life achievement of yours?
If I could only narrow it down to one, I mean, I suppose the cliched go-to responses would be and should be the day I got married or the day that my kids were born. So what I will do is, if I may, I don't know if this is against the rules. could I take those three incidents and put them aside and say I'm not going to count those?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Good save as well. Good save as well. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yeah.
yeah,
This way, I'm not,
yeah.
I'm not upsetting anybody. Okay, so I'll take those 3 dates and I'll put those aside and I'll say, never mind, you're not eligible. A proudest moment of my life, a favorite moment of my life. I have an incredible fear of heights. I cannot even be standing on the second floor in a mall on the second floor looking down at the first floor. You know how, I don't know how they're built in the UK, but I'm assuming that they're similar. Sometimes in malls, if you're on the second floor, there'll be a glass wall that'll come up roughly chest high, and then you can actually look down and you can see the first floor beneath. I couldn't even do that without turning into Jimmy Stewart from Vertigo, where I would just be falling to my knees and saying, "Save me, save me." So I would say, I'm telling you this because I would say that probably the proudest moment of my life was when I went ziplining. This was 6 years ago. This was the summer of 19, and we had taken a trip to Canada, and my daughter wanted to go ziplining, and my wife couldn't because she has migraines, and the air pressure, she wouldn't have been able to, it just wouldn't have worked for her. So my son said that he will stay on the ground with her, and my daughter at the time, she couldn't have gone on her own. She was too young. She had to have an adult with her. So I went with her. And I was like, well, I'm not going to make my wife go up and have her, head explode. So it was one of those, so, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. Because my daughter really wanted to go. And of course, I'm doing the dad thing. She went down ahead of me, and then I went down. And my son got this on the phone. He recorded when he saw us going down. We were on a mountaintop. This was not just going from like the top of a building down to, some bouncy house. This was we were out in the open world. This was mountaintop. I'm looking down and I am a skyscraper off the ground kind of height. So my daughter went down and all you heard was this high-pitched squeal of ee, and I have no shame in telling you that was me. So I finally I reached the bottom and I looked back up all that way from where I came from and I said, "Oh, holy cow, did I just do that?" It's like, wait a minute, am I telling you that I conquered my fear of heights? I wish I could say yes, but that kind of easy ending only happens in TV and in the movies. So I still get nervous when up high. I still can't look out a window if I'm too high, if I'm on the 60th floor of a building or what have you. But I'm handling it better these past few years, so I'll go with that as my proudest moment.
Nice. Yeah, and I can completely relate to that. I'm not I don't think I don't like heights super much. And yeah, I think I ziplined and I was pretty worried about ziplining, and it was actually quite a fun experience in the end. I think the thing for me that I struggle with a bit is like roller coasters. I've been on some roller coasters, but don't always get to go on it. I don't have that worry, like I can go up like high buildings. I don't have that worry of being in those sorts of environments. I think for me, the worry is being in areas where I feel like it doesn't feel as secure or safe. That's why roller coasters, that's why zipline, that's why those sorts of things make me a little bit more anxious. But good on you for doing it. And, that's one of the ways that you can treat fears, exposure therapy. So it's a good way to do it. And if it doesn't mean that, like you say, it might not have completely conquered it, but if it just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable the next time, then that's better than before. But you're able to fly and stuff, because obviously you've come to the UK and things like that. That's not an issue for you.
Yeah, that's the strange thing, is I do not have a fear of flying. I have a fear of heights, but I don't have a fear of flying, which just, I guess, is just proof that phobias, sometimes there is no rhyme or reason to them. So maybe I died in England in a former life by falling from a great height. I don't know.
Do you think you can get yourself on a hot air balloon? Is that going to be something you could do, or is that not possible?
I think as long as there were a professional in the hot air balloon with me. Like, would I be able to do it solo, or would I be able to do it freelance? Probably not. But if there was someone in there who was sort of guiding it along, saying, "Oh, I'm a trained professional, don't worry, this is how it works," I would be okay with that. When I was a kid, I had no problem with roller coasters. I had no problem with Ferris wheels. None of that. The fear of heights didn't really come about until I became an adult, really. And I couldn't pinpoint an exact age, but probably at some point in my 20s.
Yeah, fair. These things can happen later in life, and good on you for doing the zip line. And yeah, maybe we can get you back on that another time.
I'm open to it. I am open to it.
Nice. Thanks for sharing your favorites. How does Green Day, Time of Your Life, link to the fourth song on the Full Circle?
So the third song was When We Dropped My Son Off of College. So you can probably guess where this fourth song is going. When we dropped my daughter off a couple of months ago in September. And this song is from the Mamas and the Papas. And the song is called Look Through My Window. And the reason why I went with that song is because that was my earworm when we dropped her off and saw her walk away into her dorm. And there's a line in that song that goes, "Nothing's quite as sure as change." I was hearing that and I thought to myself, well, yeah, there's no denying that. Now for her, when we said our final goodbyes, there was we were standing outside of the hotel where we were staying, and we were right by the entrance to the hotel restaurant, and they were playing music over the speakers, and the music was coming outside, the outside speakers, and the song that was playing was Neil Diamond's Heart of Gold. My daughter, it was an emotional farewell, and so she said, "Oh, great," she said, "this song isn't helping." That might be her earworm for her memory of being dropped off for the first time. But for me, it's Look Through My Window, the Mamas and the Papas. But my kids and I have a history with the Mamas and the Papas because when they were really little, I taught night classes as well. So I wasn't around all that much because we just financially needed to get ourselves, as most new families, we had to get ourselves on, firm ground. So I was teaching night classes a few nights a week, and my wife would always bring them to her parents and they would have dinner together. So they would have grandparent time. And so that would be a couple of times a week. And so I was always feeling left out of it. The middle of the week, Wednesday night, was the night when at our town library, for little kids, they had Teddy Bear Story Hour. So I would bring them to that, and that would be my night with them. And we were always listening to the Mamas and the Papas on the way to and from the library. And, it just became a thing. We would listen occasionally to other things as well, but Mamas and the Papas was the mainstay. The fact that song went through my head when we were saying goodbye to her, it's probably no coincidence. I mean, it stands to reason why that song would randomly come in because, I know all the lyrics. So, yeah, Look Through My Window, Mamas and the Papas, song number 4 in my circle.
Nice. Love it. Mamas and Papas, Look Through My Window, the fourth song on the Full Circle. Right, one more song to go. But before that, I've got a Buzzfeed quiz for you. We're recording this in late November. Now, I want to actually check this with you. It's becoming a thing in the UK. Maybe it's always been a thing and I've just never noticed, but it's becoming a thing in the UK that as soon as it's the 1st of November, i.e. the day after Halloween, Christmas lights happen, Christmas themed, everything Christmas happens. Now, I know in America, Thanksgiving is a holiday, end of November. So does that mean that there isn't any Christmas stuff just yet, or does Christmas become a thing now?
Christmas becomes a thing. The stores, they have their decorations up. Lights are up on houses. Music is playing on the radio. Generally speaking, I mean, this is really a generalization, but there are two types of people in the first half of November. Those who are okay with it being Christmas and those who are not. and the opinions tend to be very, if you're committed to one side, then you're really committed to that side. Yes, Christmas is a thing, especially in the world of retail, especially in the world of commerce. And really, in terms of just being out there in the public, you have the sales, you have the decorations, you have everything that's that goes along with the season. So there is Christmas. There is Christmas throughout November. It's a case of not everybody being okay with it because some people feel very strongly, we don't skip a holiday. Thanksgiving is a very important holiday. And some people just don't like Christmas music and they just say, no, I don't want to hear it now because I want to postpone the inevitable for as long as possible.
That's fair. I always feel like December, for me, December's like the beginning of Christmas because it's the month of Christmas. That's always just my thought process. And there are some other things that happen in November, like personally for me, like my birthday's in early November. So I don't really think of Christmas until that sort of period. So I guess for me, it's just the personal sort of element to it. And just a cynic in me just makes me think that they do it earlier and earlier because, it's just an easier way to get money, especially in like retail and things like that. That's just a cynic. But I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit bar humbug there. I don't know.
Nah, there's a cynic in me too. I agree with you 100% that it all comes down to the almighty dollar. Rightly or wrongly, for better or worse, that's what it always comes down to whenever it comes to these kinds of things. We're going to have Amazon saying we're going to have our Black Friday sale a week before Black Friday. Everything is just being pushed and pushed up and pushed up and pushed up. I can remember I was walking through Costco and it was the beginning of July. I think it was July. It was like the day or 2 days before the 4th of July, Independence Day. And there were not a lot, but there was some Christmas things out, like ribbons and a couple of decorations, things like that. And I was just stunned. I was saying to myself, it's the first couple of days of July. What is going on here? But a friend of mine who is a makeup designer, she pointed out, well, she says a lot of times people will need stuff like that for, if they have an independent, if they have a small business, or if they need the time to work on things to get ready for the holiday rush, and the summer months is a time for them to get those kinds of things, get those projects going. And that made sense to me. Didn't mean that I was okay with stuff being out in Costco at that point, but it made sense.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but it's still annoying. Okay, well, anyway, more Christmas talk then. Plan a winter weekend and we'll tell you which Christmas movie to watch. Now, you mentioned the holdovers, so it'd be hilarious if they mention that. They're going to ask you some questions about a winter weekend. So you're planning it as if it's Christmas weekend or whatever. And they're going to tell you about the movie. And I guess it'll be interesting to know if you agree with their choice or if it's a no from you. So what's the first thing you do when you get up? Here's the options. Cuddle your pet, freshen up, check your mail, open the curtains, check your phone, or take a walk.
I'm embarrassed to say that when I wake up, check my phone.
I think, yeah, I do that as well. I think that's not an uncommon thing these days, unfortunately. Next, what's for breakfast? And the options are pancakes, Pop-Tart, cereal, just coffee, English breakfast, or yogurt parfait.
My breakfast tends to be something along the lines more of some cottage cheese with sugar-free maple syrup. It's more of a health thing than anything else. But if I had to go with out of those options, I think the one that happens the most is just coffee. On a work day, sometimes if I get in and there's a meeting and then first class begins right away and I don't have the chance to eat anything until lunchtime, just coffee.
Fair enough. Okay, thinking about the winter weekend, what are your plans for the morning? Putting up decorations, going for a jog, wrapping presents, baking, shopping for presents, or relaxing by the fire?
The one that sounds good to me is relaxing by the fire. The one that I would probably end up doing, though, would be probably the shopping, because I always need to be on the go. I always need to cross something off a to-do list, so I'll go with that.
Time for lunch. What are you having? Tacos, mac and cheese, sandwich, fried chicken, burger and fries, or kebab wrap?
Sandwich.
Nice. What's your favorite sandwich?
Turkey. Without a doubt, turkey sandwich.
That's perfect. Okay, how do you spend your evening? Hanging with roommates, reading, playing in the snow, watching a festive film, playing Christmas hits, or grocery shopping?
Watching a festive film for sure.
I thought you'd go for that one. Time for dinner. What are you munching on? Spaghetti, sushi, steak, biryani, roast dinner, or pizza?
Roast dinner, meaning like turkey, maybe? Like a roast turkey or a roast... Yeah, roast dinner.
Let's end the night with a late night snack. Candy, hot chocolate, chips, brownies, popcorn, or cookies?
They all sound good. I'll go with... Well, if I'm watching a festive film, I'll go with popcorn.
Okay, the film they've gone for, that they think you should watch, and I don't know if you've watched it before, is Why Him?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, this hilarious Christmas movie will definitely have your whole family laughing. It's the perfect, unusual Christmas film.
Interesting. I'll have to look that up. No, I'm not familiar with that one at all.
I'm just having a look at it now. It stars Bryan Cranston.
Oh, I like him.
Yeah, he's very good. While his lover's parents are visiting him at his mansion, Lard asks her father Ned for his assent to marry her. Disgusted by his behavior and display of wealth, Ned tries to stop him.
I'm definitely going to look that one up now.
It doesn't sound Christmassy, but yeah, it's got Zoe Deschanel. No, nothing. Zoe Dutch, James Franco, Adam Devine, Griffin Gluck, Megan Mullally.
Oh, she's from Will and Grace.
Ah, okay.
And Adam Devine, I know him from something. I forget what, but I know him too.
I recognize his face.
Yes. He was in Modern Family.
That's it. Yes, that's it. That's where I recognize
He was
him.
one of the boyfriends of the oldest daughter.
Yeah. Okay. How does the mamas and papas look through my window link to the last song on the Full Circle?
The last song that I have is one that actually I associate with several different points in my life. Natalie Merchant and the 10,000 Maniacs, These Are the Days. This song, I've known this song for years. It reminds me of graduation from college because it was used in the graduation video. It reminds me of when I first found out that I was going to be a father because I was coming out of a particularly dark period at that point. And it also reminds me of really these past couple of months because I've sort of, in my head, I've sort of passed it along to both my kids saying, all right, well, I had my college experience and now it's your turn. So full circle.
Very, very good. 10,000 Maniacs.
Just never before and never since will the whole world be warm as this. And it's just, I don't know. It's just it's a song that's very celebratory. It lives in the moment, the joys of life. Yeah, on a lot of different levels, that song speaks to me. I wouldn't call it necessarily one of my favorite songs of all time, but I really appreciate the message behind it. I mean, who knows what the original intent was, what they were really writing about when they wrote it, but as far as what meaning I make out of the lyrics.
Nice. No, great way to end it. 10,000 Maniacs, These Are the Days. And how would you say that links back to Coldplay Clocks?
Well, because These Are the Days feels like a send-off. These are the days to remember. It's saying, okay, we've just completed this phase, and now it's time to move on to something new, a new chapter, new beginnings. Yeah, you may feel nostalgic or you may feel sad that one phase of life is ending, but life goes on. There's always something that will come up. There's always a new chapter to begin. If I can get kind of English teacher geeky for a second, there is a great short story called Hamadi, and it's about a teenage girl who has a great friendship with an older man, a widower, I should say, who reminds her, he comes from the same country that they're immigrants to America. He comes from the same country. And at the end of the story, he is offering these words of advice. He says, when you have hit a dead end, you turn a corner. And that's what life is all about, turning corners. And then he concludes that little monologue by saying, come, let's move. And I think that's the same message that this, for me anyway, what I make of the lyrics is that this may feel like this is the peak of your life. You may feel like things will never be as good, but hang on to the joy that you feel now, the excitement, and buckle up, buttercup, because life is a roller coaster, not a merry-go-round. So my own graduation, when I was, my own youth, and then now new beginnings for both my son and daughter as well. So like I said, oh my God, parenthood. This is going to be wild. I'm not ready for this.
Incredible. Hence completing the Full Circle. Yay. Thank you so much, Frank. It's been an absolute honor to have you on the show and hear about your Full Circle choices and just hear a bit about you and just have a bit of fun. And I've really enjoyed having you on the show. Was there anything that you wanted to share or wanted to let the Full Circle Nation know before we end things?
Live each day. Each day is a gift. If you wake up in the morning, then that is a win. If you can get out of bed and walk on two legs, that is a win. If you can wash your face, brush your teeth with 2 arms, 2 hands, that is a win. Just appreciate the things that we take for granted. And I'm saying that to myself as much as anybody else, because these are the things that all too often we don't even think about, and we really should.
No, those are very, very good words. And yeah, I completely agree with you. And yeah, sometimes we can take these things for granted, but no, really important to heed on those thoughts. Thank you again, Frank. I mean, again, if you guys have enjoyed Frank Time, I'm sure you have. Please check out his podcasts. Wheels of Cinema is just really, really good podcast and really fun. And you might be hearing a familiar voice on that at some point as well. So it was no, but it was really, 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 really good. And yeah, just an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Now, do you listen? And I mean, it's not an issue if you don't. Do you listen to the end of the show? Like, have you heard me end the show before?
Oh yes,
okay.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Well, I was going to ask, like, what are you like? Are you? I really don't. It's not going to bother me either way. But are you a beef eater or not?
Not really. I will have a hamburger, so I guess I can't say that I don't ever. But you will not see me. It's just a matter of personal preference. You will not see me in a restaurant ordering a steak or a prime rib or anything along those lines. I'm very much a poultry guy. I eat chicken. I eat turkey. I eat a lot of fish. I have hamburgers, not going to lie, but I don't tend to gravitate towards beef, no.
Fair. So relatively safe. So I like that. No, but no, no judgment at all. But for those of you that are listening, just remember this. Stay safe. Don't eat beef.